This lesson is about perpendicular lines and tangents. Judging by the code of this lesson 9.03, you can tell this is a grade 9 topic. This is one of the few topics that is very, very useful, and you should be able and you should master it before going to A-level maths. This video will be inevitably long because of the complexity of the step we are carrying out, and I'm trying to cover all possible types of questions that you may encounter about perpendicular lines and tangents. So let's go. Okay, so first of all, we are going to learn to find a gradient of a line that is perpendicular to the other. Now this should come, you should have learned this before, but it's a bit of recap. And then we're going to learn how to find the equation of a perpendicular line, a perpendicular bisector, and a tangent to a circle. Now these three are quite similar to each other, which are both perpendicular lines. They are like McDonald's, plastic surgery, and passion in revision. Do you know what's in common with them? There's nothing natural in them.
Your jokes are so lame.
Anyway, so notes. The gradient is conventionally denoted as a letter m, like in y equals mx plus c, we use m for gradient. For parallel lines, we use m1 equals m2 because the gradient of one equals gradient of the other. In perpendicular lines, we know the gradient of one times the gradient of another perpendicular line will equal to -1. That's a definition of perpendicular lines. To show they're perpendicular, that's what you can say. On the other hand, if we rearrange the equation, we can see m1 equals -1 over the gradient of the other, which is also known as the negative reciprocal. You should know about these terms. So to find the equation of any straight line, we can use y equals mx plus c. We need two things, a point on the line, x and y, and we also need the gradient. So once we've got these two ingredients, then we can use the formula to make our own McDonald's. Make our own equation. Right, so let's carry on. So equation, now we're going to look at the difference between each type of lines. We're going to learn three things today: perpendicular lines, perpendicular bisector, and the tangents of circles. Okay, so first of all, when it comes to perpendicular lines, we can see this red line is perpendicular to AB. What we need, okay, is two things, like what we did in the previously about equation of straight line. One, a point. So we need a point, any point on the perpendicular line, any point on the red line. And two, the gradient. The gradient is the negative reciprocal, so negative reciprocal and a point of the line AB. So in order to find the gradient of the red line, we can find the gradient of AB and then do a negative reciprocal. Now what about perpendicular bisector? What's a perpendicular bisector? Bisector means you're halving the line. So perpendicular means a right angle. Perpendicular bisector is a name of a line that cuts the other line in half, but is also perpendicular to it. So you can see a red line has perfectly cut AB into two halves. Right, so to work out this line, we can't find just any point on this line. The point has to be specifically the M, which is the midpoint of AB. So one, you need the midpoint of AB, and two, again, you need to find the negative reciprocal of the line AB, which is a gradient. Last but not least, tangents to circle, which is also a circle theorem. We know a radius and a tangent makes a right angle. So what we need in here is to work out the equation of this red line. We need the coordinates of P, which is that touching point. Now, harder question may require you to find it, especially if you do further maths in GCSE. You're quite likely will be asked to work it out. Next, you also need to find a gradient, which is negative reciprocal of the radius. So again, negative reciprocal. So you can see the main theme, you can see the common theme between these three things is you need a point, but the point will be quite different, depends on the situation. One will be any point, the other one will be midpoint. This one will be where the radius and the tangent crosses. So a point, okay, one, the point, and two, the gradient, which is always the negative reciprocal of the other line. All right. The first example, I'm going to introduce you slowly from 2 points all the way to a line that is perpendicular to the 2 points. Okay, so given 2 points A and B are 3, -5, and 2, 4 respectively. Part A, find the gradient of line AB. Now hopefully you are able to work out gradient, which is the difference So y2 minus y1, the difference in y over difference in x. Now you can do minus 5 take away 4, but you have to do 3 minus 2 underneath it. So as long as you have the same order of subtraction, you'll be fine. What I did was I do 4 take away minus 5 and 2 take away 3. So 4 minus minus 5 is 9 because minus minus makes a plus. 2 minus 3 is minus 1, so that's minus 9. Part B, find the gradient of the line that is perpendicular to AB. So the line that is perpendicular to AB will be, so I'm going to put perpendicular in here, MP perpendicular, is a negative reciprocal, will be minus 1 over minus 9, which is 1 over 9. So it's a negative reciprocal, okay, perpendicular. Question C, find the equation of a line that is perpendicular to line AB, which passes through the point 0, 3. So, to find the equation of a line, do you remember the formula that we're using? Y equals mx plus c. Two things you will need. You need a point and you need a gradient. Have we got a point? Yes, we do. 0, 3. Have we got the gradient? Yes, we do. 1/9. Why 1/9 but not minus 9? Because it's the one perpendicular to AB. So it's 1/9. So we can now use the formula y equals mx plus c. So now, if you are smart enough, hopefully you realize this is the y-intercept. So essentially, we know c is 3. Okay, so if you realize this, we can straight away work out y equal m, which is 1/9 of x plus 3. Okay, but you can also go through the ordinary way, which is to sub in numbers. So y is 3. Actually, let me rewrite the equation. So y equals 1/9 of x plus c. When y is 3, x is 0. So 3 equals 1/9 times 0 plus c. 1/9 times 0 is 0. So c equals 3. So y equals 1/9 x plus 3. You can see the same answer. Okay. The next example is about working out the equation of a perpendicular line from another equation of a line directly. So the previous one is from 2 points, but this one is from an equation. So a line that is perpendicular to this one is, first of all, from this one, we can tell the gradient is a third. So therefore, the gradient of a perpendicular line, it will be the negative reciprocal. So we flip the fraction and put a minus. So minus 3 over 1, which is same as negative 3. Passes through the point 3 minus 4. To work out the equation, we use the formula y equals mx plus c. When it comes to using y equals mx plus c, two things that you need to remember, a point and a gradient. Have we got a point? Yes, we do. 3 minus 4. That 3 minus 4 is your x and y. Your gradient, yes, we do, which is minus 3. So we can sub it in. So y is negative 4. Negative 4 equals, oh, actually, I should rewrite the y equals mx plus c. So y equal m minus 3x plus c. X and y is 3 minus 4. So negative 4 equals minus 3 times 3 plus c, which gives you minus 4 equals minus 9 plus c. Bring the minus 9 over left hand side, becomes a plus. Minus 4 plus 9 is 5. So c equals 5. And therefore, the equation is y equals minus 3x plus 5. And that's the answer. Question number 1. Just asking you to find a gradient of the perpendicular line between these two coordinates. Not the equation, just the gradient. Okay, pause the video, have a go at the question. When you're ready for the answer, you can press play. Here are the answers. Question A is 1, because if you flip a negative 1, it's just a 1. It's negative reciprocal, so change the sign. Next one is now for 13, and minus 1 for 13. Practice question 2. There are many questions waiting, practice question waiting for you. This is just number 2.
Oh, hell no!
So pause the video, have a go at the question. When you're ready for the answer, you can press play. Here is the final answer. Y equals a half x plus 7. We know the gradient is minus 2, so therefore the gradient that's perpendicular to it will be a negative reciprocal, a half, and hence the importance of practice question 1, because if you got this wrong, you get the rest of them wrong. We know the point is minus 12, 1. Sub in to work out c. C is 7, and you get y equals a half x plus 7. Practice question 3.
Another one.
So a little bit more this time. So work out question A, B, and C. See if you're able to work it out. Pause the video, have a go at the question. When you're ready for the answer, you can press play. Hopefully this question is not proven too difficult for you. I think I have scaffolded nicely enough for you to introduce you to sort of something similar to this type of question, step by step, work a gradient, work the gradient of a perpendicular line, and then work out the equation of a line. All right, it should be it should be okay to do them. This practice question is actually not part of the perpendicular line, but I do want to put a question there, just a bit of revision for you. See if you remember how to prove two lines are perpendicular or parallel to each other.
Why? Just why?
So pause the video, have a go at the question. When you're ready for the answer, you can press play. To show two lines are perpendicular, you have to make y the subject and work out the gradient of each equation. And then the two ways you can explain it. One, you can say -2 is negative reciprocal to a half, or you can switch around these two numbers. You can say a half is negative reciprocal to -2, therefore they're perpendicular. Or you can say when they multiply together, it gives you -1, therefore they're perpendicular. Remember, the definition of perpendicular is that if the two gradient multiply give -1, then they are perpendicular. Okay? Moving forward, perpendicular bisector. So we talk about perpendicular line. So we have gone through one of the three Spider-Mans, English, sorry. So we talk about perpendicular line. So let's cross this off the Spider-Man. We're looking at this perpendicular bisector Spider-Man.
You are next.
Right, so A and B are the points for -4, 2, and 2, 5. Part A, again, introduce you nicely. In the exam, they won't give you part A and part B. It'll be probably part C for 5 or 6 marks straight away. Okay, find the gradient of line AB. So, perpendicular to line AB. Perpendicular. So, first of all, question A. Now, to denote the gradient of AB, we can write MAB. So, which is 5 minus 2, take away 2 minus -4, which is 3/6, which is a half. But that's not perpendicular, isn't it? So the M perpendicular to it, MP, is -2. That's the answer for question A. Question B, find the coordinates of the midpoint AB. Actually, let me do it underneath in here. To find the midpoint of AB, midpoint is I find the middle between two numbers. How do you find the middle between two numbers very quickly? You can add them up and halve it. For example, if I ask you, what's the middle between 701? Well, you can add them up, which is 108 divided by 2, 54. That's the middle. Okay, add them up and halve it. So you do the same with each coordinate, -4 and 2. Now note, you're not doing between the number inside the coordinate. You are doing it with the same x coordinate and then across the y coordinates. So the midpoint will be, so you do -4 plus 2 and halve it, which is -2 divided by 2, -1. Do the 2 plus 5 and halve it. So 2 plus 5 is 7. 7 half it is, you can do 3.5 or you can do 7/2. It doesn't matter. Okay, so the midpoint is therefore -1, 3.5. I'd like to use decimal because mental maths is easier with decimals. Right? Question C. Find the equation of the perpendicular bisector of AB. Perpendicular bisector is still a straight line, so we're still using a very same formula that we've been cooking, which is y equals mx plus c. Two things that we need, hopefully by now you should be able to say it without thinking, is a point and a gradient. So the point is the midpoint. The gradient is -2. We've got both things, so we can use the equation, use the formula. So the gradient is -2, so y equals -2x plus c. We know the midpoint, which is -1, 3.5, so we can sub in 3.5 equals -2 times -1 plus c. -2 times -1 is just +2. -2 over is 1.5. So c equals 1.5. That's why I tend to use decimal when it comes to easy calculation, because if you have a fraction, 7/2, if I ask you 7/2 -2, can you tell me straight away? It's not impossible, obviously, but it'll be longer. It'll be harder than work at 1.5. So c equals 1.5. Therefore, the equation is y equals -2x plus 1.5. If you tend to use the fraction, it'll be 3/2 instead. Next practice question.
Again?
This time, it's all about perpendicular bisector. See if you're able to apply what you've just learned into this practice question. Pause the video, have a go at the question. when you're ready for the answer, you can press play. Here are the answers. I do have to apologize. The numbers are sort of slightly weird. Hopefully, you aren't doubting your answer. Get a bit of confidence in yourself if you did get 29 over 3. Question A, to work gradient, well, you got y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You got 3. To find a gradient of the perpendicular line, negative reciprocal. Part C, to find a midpoint, you add up the 6 and the 4 together, half it, you get 5. Add up the 11 and 5 together, half it, you get 8. So that's a midpoint. To work out the equation of the perpendicular bisector, you need the midpoint and you need a negative reciprocal gradient. So the midpoint is 5, 8. As I said, everything in here, if you've got it wrong, you can't get the final answer. So make sure you're step by step. These calculations shouldn't be too difficult. It's just when you put them together, you've got these wrongs. Let's say if you make some poisonous food, obviously you find you have some poisonous ingredient. Obviously, then you have a poisonous food, you get food poisoning, and you can't go to school. Oops, did I give you some idea how to skip school? Sorry. Right, so there we go. So when you've got minus 5 over 3, add them up. You can use fraction quite easily. Add up 2 fractions, you get 29 over 3, and that's your answer. Practice question 6 already.
I can't do this anymore.
Oh, we're nearly there, getting there. Okay, so pause the video, have a go with the question, see if you're able to crack it out. If you're ready for the answer, you can press play. You got to the final answer because to show that question, if you're able to work out 4y equals 2x minus 11 exactly as it is, move on. Okay, I'm going to go through the answer step by step. But if you got it right, well done. If you got to this step, y equals a half x minus 11 over 4, you're not far off. You can just sort of skip just before you're moving on to the next session towards the end of this practice question, where I'll go through how to work this out, okay, to the final answer. But if you have no clue how to start off, I'm going to go through the question step by step. First of all, to work out equation of perpendicular bisector, as I said, we need y equals mx plus c, 2 ingredients, a point, essentially we need a midpoint, and the gradient, a negative reciprocal, so negative reciprocal, the MP. So we have to work out one by one. First of all, work on the midpoint. To work on the midpoint, we do minus 1 plus 4, half it, because we do the x, add them up together, and half it. Do the same for y, 3 plus minus 7, half it. Minus 1 plus 4 is minus 3, so minus 3 over 2. 3 plus minus 7 is negative 4. Negative 4 over 2 is negative 2. So that's the first thing, okay? Next. Oh, actually, it should be positive. My bad. I made a mistake. It should be positive. Minus 1 plus 4 is positive. 3 over 2. Might be easier if I write in decimal. Up to you. All right. Next one. You find the gradient for the perpendicular. So first of all, I need to work out the gradient of AB before I can flip it. So to work out gradient of AB, I do minus 7 minus 3, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus 1, x1. Minus 7 minus 3 is negative 10. 4 plus 1 is 5. That gives you minus 2. Therefore, the gradient for the perpendicular line will be a half. It's a negative reciprocal. So these are two things. Oops. These are two things that we need. So we've got a point, and we've got the gradient. Next, it's time to sub into y equals mx plus c. Now we've got the point and the gradient. So the equation is y equals a half x plus c, because gradient is a half. Sub in the point, minus 2.5, minus 1.5 and minus 2. So minus 2 equals a half times a half. No, a half times 1.5 plus c. Next, we multiply a half into 1.5. A half times 1.5 is 0.75. So minus 2 equals 0.75 plus c. If you like to work in fraction, you can as well. You should get 3/4 in here. Let me use a different color if you're using fraction. So minus 2 equals 3/4 plus c. Next, I do the minus 0.75, move it to left hand side, it becomes negative, take away. So it'll be c equals negative 2.75. If you're using a fraction, you should get minus 11 over 4 equals c. So c equals negative 11 over 4. All right, so let's move on. Once you've got that, then you can do y equals a half x minus 2.75. Now, this is actually not useful at all to get to the final answer because the final answer is all whole number. So in this case, using a fraction version will be easier. So I'm going to turn this into a fraction, into y equals a half x minus 11 over 4. To turn this to a whole number, you can see from the question wants all integer without fraction. Now, compare what's common and what's different. So what's common is they both have y and x, right? But what's different is they have integer in the front, there's a 4y. So to get rid of fraction, what we can do is we can find the lowest common multiple between all the denominators. So 2 and 4, the LCM is 4 because the lowest common multiple is 4. So we can multiply every single fraction, every single term by 4. So if we multiply this by 4, multiply this by 4, multiply this by 4, then you get 4 times y, which is 4y. 4 times a half is 2x. 4 times negative 11 over 4 is negative 11. And that's the answer. Next, we are moving on to equation of tangent of a circle. So we have successfully tackled another Spider-Man. Now we need to deal with the last Spider-Man, which is the tangent of circle. So let's go through. So a circle has equation x squared plus y squared equals 25. Now, if you don't know how the equation of circle works, this number is the radius squared. So what it means is the radius is 5. The center of circle will always be 0, 0. Okay, so essentially we can draw a circle that has a center 0, 0 and the radius 5. So a pair of axes, let me show you the perfect circle. You can't say this is not perfect because in my eyes it's always perfect.
Are you stupid or something?
So that's 0, 0. And what we know is the point P lies in the circumference, which is a 0.34. So 34 is somewhere here. And what we know is that radius here is 5. Okay. Find the equation of a tangent of a circle passes through P. So that point is P. So where's that line tangent? Well, that line will be here. So we use a ruler and a pencil. Is that line here that is perpendicular to the point P and the circle, and that is a right angle. Okay, so we want to work out that equation of the line, the red line here. So how do we work it out? Well, this equation of tangent is also a straight line. So y equals mx plus c. What do we need? A point and a gradient. Have we got a point? Yes, we do. We got the 0.34 because the 0.34, the point P is on the line. But what the gradient then? Now to work out the equation of a gradient, look at the notes again. Let's have a look. How do we work out the equation of tangent? How do we work out the gradient? To work out gradient, we are going to work out the line CP, which is the radius. Okay, and then we can find a gradient of the reciprocal, negative reciprocal. So we'll do that. So in here, when you find a gradient of the line, let's call this point O because it's center. Okay, so when you find OP, so that's the negative reciprocal of gradient OP, a mop, right? A mop head. If you know what's a mop head is like this, like a mop. Basically, it's like my hairstyle every day now. Like a mop. Okay, like a mop. Anyway, mop. So first of all, the gradient of mop, the gradient of OP is this point is 0, 0. So it's 4 take away 0 over 3 take away 0, which is 4/3. So the gradient of the perpendicular will be the negative reciprocal. So flip the fraction, put a negative. So now we have got our gradient, which is negative 3/4. So we've got our two ingredients. Time to use the formula. So the formula is y equals negative 3/4 x plus c. We know the point is 3, 4. So I'm subbing in 4 equals negative 3/4 times 3 plus c. I'm going to expand out and multiply out. Minus 3/4 times 3 is negative 9 over 4 plus c. So bring the minus over left hand side becomes a plus. So c equals 4 plus 9 over 4, which I can rewrite 16 over 4 plus 9 over 4, which is 25 over 4. Therefore, the equation will be y equals -3/4 x plus 25/4, and that will be our final answer. This is practice question 7. A very similar question to the example I just showed you, because I just want you to apply the steps, the skills into this one quite fluently. So pause the video, have a go at the question, see if you're able to work it out. And when you're ready for the answer, you can press play. So here's the final answer. Y equals 3/4 x plus 25/2. Now, if you got it right, well done. Move on to the harder question, question 8. But if you don't, first of all, check, have you got the gradient as 3/4? If you do, chances are it might be a silly mistake. You can skip forward to a bit further ahead, see if you can find any silly mistakes you've made. But if you have no clue, then we're going through now. Okay, first of all, to find the equation of tangent, we need two things again. We're going to use the formula y equals mx plus c. We need a point, which we do have, is -x8, and we need a gradient. All right, to find a gradient of a circle, or equation of tangent circle, best to draw a circle first. So that is 0, 0, and the point is -x8. -x8 is here, so that point -x8 is here. What we need to find is the equation of this line of tangent, right? So what you need is to find the equation of the gradient of the tangent, the gradient of the orange line. You'll first need to find the gradient of the radius. So the gradient of the radius, mr radius, is 8 minus 0 over -6 take away 0, because you're working out between the gradient between these 2 points. So that will give you 8 over -6, which is -4/3. Therefore, the gradient for the perpendicular line is the negative reciprocal 3/4. Once you've got that, you've got y equals 3/4 x plus c. Sub in the point -x8, 8 equals 3/4 times -6 plus c. Multiply in, so you get -18/4 plus c. We know that could be simplified, so 8 equals -9/2 plus c. Add the 9/2 to the left hand side, so c equals 8 plus 9/2, which is 16/2 plus 9/2, which is same as 25/2. Therefore, the equation is y equal 3/4 x plus 25/2. Here's the final practice question. Now, this is one of the hardest questions. Could be in equation of tangents, perpendicular lines, etc. Because not only involves perpendicular lines, but also involves surd form. So you need to be able to do surd form quite confidently, which is a grade 7 topic. I wouldn't be surprised if similar question pop up in the last few questions in a non-calculate paper. So pause the video, have a good go at the question, see if you're able to work it out. When you're ready for the answer, you can press play. Here are the answers for question A to D. All right, see if you got it right. If you've got all of them right, brilliant. Well done. 10 out of 10. Good job. Enjoy the maths joke. But if you don't, let's go through step by step. Okay, so let's dive in. The diagram shows a circle with equation x squared plus y squared equals 49. So what we know is that length in here is 7. Okay, because square root of 49 is 7. And the center is the origin. The line L, so that's the line L, is a tangent to the circle. It intersects the circle at A, so that point where the line L and the circle intersect, that point is A. And what we know is a radius, and a tangent makes a right angle. And crosses the x-axis at B, so that point here at the x-axis is B. Given the x-coordinate of A is 5, find the y-coordinate of A, give your answer exact value. Exact value means third form. So now, because A lies on the circle and the line, we don't know anything about the line, but we do know about the circle. So to work out the y-coordinate, we can sub in x equals 5. So question A. Okay, so when x equals 5, the x squared plus y squared equals 49 becomes 5 squared plus y squared equals 49. So rearrange the equation. 49 take away 25 is 24. So square root of 24 is 2 root 6. Okay, so find the y coordinate of A, so y equals 2 root 6. Actually, just 2 root 6 is fine. All right. Question B. Show that the gradient of line L is negative 5 root 6 over 12. To find the gradient of the tangent line, you have just done this. You want to find out the gradient of the radius and then do negative reciprocal. So the gradient of the radius is, or you can use m of OA if you prefer, or you can use m of OA or m of OA is, so we know the point A is now 5 and 2 root 6. So it'll be 2 root 6 minus 0 over 5, take away 0, which is 2 root 6 over 5. But the gradient for the tangent, for the tangent, which is perpendicular to it, is a negative reciprocal. But now you can see there's not much, that they look similar, but they're not the same. Now, why is that the case? Because you need to rationalize it. Remember, when we see a third form denominator, we don't like it. Teacher doesn't like it. Examiner doesn't like it. No one likes it. Okay, like pickles in a burger, no one likes it.
Not taste good? Let me try this.
No. All gone. It tastes like feet.
To rationalize it, we need to multiply top and bottom by root 6. Right, so to do that, in the top, we've got minus 5 root 6 over denominator 2 times 6, which is negative 5 root 6 over 12. All right, so the step is to rationalize it. Question C, hence find the equation of the line L. So to find the equation of line L, we need to use y equals mx plus c. Two ingredients, a point and a gradient. Have we got a point on the line? Yes, we do. We've got 5 and 2 root 6. Have we got a gradient? Yes, from part B, minus 5 root 6 over 12. So we can use, now we know the gradient is negative 5 root 6 over 12. So y equals m minus 5 root 6 over 12, x plus c. Substitute the 0.5 2 root 6 into it. Yes, sound horrible, but this is the step that you need to do successfully if you want to get a grade 9. So x is 5 plus c. So just show you the steps. I sub in the 5 in there, sub in 2 root 6 in there. Y equals mx plus c. Multiply 5 by the fraction, so left hand side is 2 root 6. Multiply 5 will be negative 25 root 6 over 12 plus c. Bring the minus over left hand side, becomes a plus, so 2 root 6 plus 25 root 6 over 12 is c. So if c equals, if I add them up, let me rewrite that. Remember that's over 1, so I can make it 24 root 6 over 12 plus 25 root 6 over 12. 24 plus 25 root 6 is 49 root 6 over 12. Therefore, the equation is y equal minus 5 root 6 over 12x plus 49 root 6 over 12. I know that's a very hard question, but that's why I put it in the last question. All right, so I don't expect everyone to get it right, but I do expect you to sort of understand how do we work it out step by step. It's only more difficult because of the third form. All right, so in terms of the working out of the equation of a tangent, is nothing different to this, apart from these fraction nice numbers suddenly becomes a monstrous third form. Right, so that's the equation of the line L. All right, minus 5 root 6 over 12, x plus 49 root 6 over 12. Question D, hence find the coordinates of B. Now, B is a point on the x-axis. Now, tell me what's so special about the coordinates on the x-axis. On the x-axis, all the y coordinates is 0. Because 5, 0, 3, 0, 2, 0, minus 1, 0, the y coordinate is always 0. So question D, okay, question D. So B is on the x-axis. So therefore, it must be something 0. So when y equals 0, we sub it into y equals minus 5 root 6 over 12x plus 49 root 6 over 12. So when y equals 0, 0 equals minus 5 root 6 over 12x plus 49 root 6 over 12. To solve this equation, we can bring the minus to the left hand side. That becomes 5 root 6 over 12x equals 49 root 6 over 12. Because both sides have the denominator of 12, we can ignore it completely, so it becomes 5 root 6 x equals 49 root 6. Both sides have root x, divided both sides. So 5x equals 49, divided across 49 over 5. The question needs us to find a coordinate of x, so we have to write the four coordinates, 49 over 5 and 0.
I am